Hello, my name is Abigail Flowers, and today I'll show you how I play La Vie en Rose by Edith Piaf in the key of G on baritone ukulele. Here's a little bit of what it'll sound like. Hold me close and hold me fast, this magic spell you cast, this is La Vie en Rose. Let's go ahead and take a look at the chords we'll use in this song. There are only 9 chords, and 4 of them are just variations of G, so most of this should be pretty easy, although we do have a challenge with the chord C minor, but we'll get to that in just a moment. First up, we have a G major chord, which I play by putting my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the E string. Everything else is open, and you could really use whatever finger you want to play this chord, but I like to practice playing notes on the 3rd fret with my ring finger. So next up we have the G major 7, and for this one I just put my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the E string. Once again, everything else is open, 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 2nd fret. Next up we have a G6 chord, which is probably some of y'all's favorite chord because we don't actually have to do anything with our left hand. It's just all open strings, D, G, B, and E. We're also going to play a G7, which is sometimes called a G dominant 7, and I play that by putting my pointer finger on the 1st fret of the E string. So open, 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 1st fret. We also use an A minor chord, which I play by putting my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, ring finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and pointer finger on the 1st fret of the B string. E string remains open. And that's usually followed by a D7 chord. So when I move to a D7 chord, I can leave my pointer finger in place, and I move my middle finger to the 2nd fret of the G string. My ring finger is on the 2nd fret of the E string. That's our D7 chord. So I like to practice A minor and D7 as a pair, going from A minor, leave that pointer finger in place as a pivot point, and then place for my D7, and then gradually get a little bit faster. We'll also be playing an A7, which I play by putting my pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, and my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the B string. If you're really into theory, you might notice that that A7 chord shape doesn't actually include the note A. So another way to play this chord would be with a bar chord, using your pointer finger to bar straight across the 2nd fret, and then the middle finger would be on the 3rd fret of the E string. So that A7 shape includes all the notes in an A7 chord, but in most scenarios, this 2-0-2-0 shape works just fine. You can also play it as a 4-finger chord, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, but you have to have a pretty strong pinky to make that work. We'll also play a C major chord, which I play by putting my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, pointer finger on the 1st fret of the B string. Everything else is open. Now comes the really challenging chord, which is the C minor chord. I play this by putting my pointer finger on the 1st fret of the D string. The G string stays open. I put my middle finger on the 1st fret of the B string, and then I reach all the way up with my pinky to play the 3rd fret of the E string. This chord is really challenging because it spans 3 frets, and baritone ukulele tends to be a little larger, so we're reaching further. So I'd like to provide some alternatives just in case you can't manage that shape. A great option when you can't make a chord work is to try and find a 3-string option. So instead of strumming all 4 strings, you find a voicing you like that only uses 3 strings. So here are 2 options using that method. The first alternative I would suggest is going to leave the E string out. So we'll do 1st fret of the D string, 2nd fret of the G string, and 1st fret of the B string, and then leave out the E string. So that sounds like this. It's only only 3 strings, but we're able to get some of that beautiful tension because we're not worried about the 4th string or a 4th finger. The other option takes us up the neck a little bit and leaves off the D string. So I put my ring finger on the 5th fret of the G string, my middle finger goes on the 4th fret of the B string, and my pointer goes on the 3rd fret of the E string. So again, we're not gonna pluck or strum the D string, but this sounds like. Of course, you could also use the 4-finger version of C minor, which happens up at the 5th fret. 5, 5, 4, 3. But if you can make this C minor work, that's your best bet here. If you decide to use a substitution, it's completely up to you which one you think sounds best in context. For the purposes of this video, I'll just keep playing this version. Those are all the chords we'll use. Now we can start playing through the song piece by piece. This song starts with a really beautiful kind of melodic walk down from G major to G major 7 to G6. And you hear that in the melody as well. It starts out da 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 da. So that's kind of a fun detail to notice, especially if you're a songwriter. That kind of sequence with a small change to the beginning of each line is a very cool compositional detail. After G6, we're playing our A minor and D7 in the same measure. So the first 4 measures go 1, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 3, 4, G major 7, 2, 3, 4, G6, 2, 3, 4, A minor, then to D7. The second line uses A minor for a full measure, to D7 for a full measure. Remember to keep this pointer finger in place as a pivot point between A minor and D7. Then we have a split bar or a shared measure of A minor for 2 beats to D7 for 2 beats, and that resolves to our G6. Keep your left hand close though, because right after that, we have another D7. So let's just go through those first 8 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold me close and hold me fast. This magic spell you cast. This is La Vie en Rose. When you kiss me, heaven sighs, and though I close my eyes, I see La Vie en Rose. After that, we get back to some familiar material. We're just walking down from a G major chord to G major 7 to G6. This time we'll follow G6 with a G7 or G dominant 7, which again I play by putting my pointer finger on the 1st fret of the E string. Like I said before, you could play all these G chords, let's say with your pointer finger, and just play 3rd fret, slide it down to the 2nd fret, take it off for the G6, and then play G7. But I think this is a great opportunity to practice using what tend to be our weaker fingers. The pinky is going to be our weakest finger typically, and then ring finger. So this is a great opportunity to exercise your ring finger and play G major with the ring finger, G major 7 with the middle finger, G6 is open, and then the G7 with the pointer finger, but whatever's best for you. After that G7 chord, we'll play C major, and it's very common to hear the chord C after the chord G7. So you might take a minute to practice those as a pair, just like we did with A minor and D7. You're kind of guaranteed to hear those 2 chords together in a lot of other songs. So those 4 measures together go like G, 2, 3, 4, G major 7, 2, 3, 4, G6, G7, C, 2, 3, 4. So G6 gets 2 beats, G7 gets 2 beats, everything else gets a full measure. And now we've made it to that C minor chord, so it's time to decide if you'll do that shape or maybe this shape with just 3 strings, or this shape with 3 strings, or this shape with all 4 strings. After C minor, it's smooth sailing to the end of the song. So we follow C minor with a nice simple G major chord, and that's followed by A7. Like I said before, you might choose to play that as a 4-finger chord or a bar chord, but this 2-0-2-0 A7 will do just fine. We finish out these 4 measures with a shared measure or split bar of A minor to D7. Because I'm using this C minor shape, I'm just leaving my pinky where it is for the next G chord instead of shifting to my ring finger, but you can totally shift to the ring finger if that's more comfortable. Now let's play through those 8 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you press me to your heart, I'm in a world apart, a world where roses bloom. And when you speak, angels sing from above. Everyday words seem to turn into love songs. We finish up with 4 measures that will be pretty familiar by now. It starts with a full measure of G major, a full measure or 4 beats of G major 7, 2 beats of A minor, 2 beats of D7, and then we finish off with another G. So let's look at those 4 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be la vie en rose. If you love this song, be sure to check out my most recent release, which is a cover of this song in both English and French. You can find that on Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you consume music, and I'll put links in the description. Now let's play through the whole song together with chord diagrams on the screen. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold me close and hold me fast, this magic spell you cast, this is la vie en rose. When you kiss me, heaven sighs, and though I close my eyes, I see la vie en rose. When you press me to your heart, I'm in a world apart, a world where roses bloom. And when you speak, angels sing from above. Everyday words seem to turn into love songs. Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be la vie en rose. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments, and if you decide to learn this song, please let me know how it's going for you. If you post a cover or anything, tag me so I can cheer you on, and I'll see you next time.